Hey, have you ever felt like,
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
so we've all seen the videos on social media of the unnecessary crash out. And yes, I do say unnecessary, even though everybody says it was a necessary crash out because it really is unnecessary and could have been avoided. And yeah, we see how famous it is. It's been flooding our social medias. And no, I am not going to post any of those videos on this platform. But the reason I say that it's unnecessary is because a crash out essentially is an unregulated response to stimuli that seems either disrespectful or threatening. But is it really any of those? I mean, because we live in an age of social media where people do just about anything for clicks and likes. I mean, I'm sharing myself with you and you're gonna like it. So, I come from a beautiful country called Guyana where I see there's a new thing going around with people referring to themselves as scrapes or scrape heads. Now, don't ask me what exactly it means because I grew up in the countryside where I used to be focused on climbing trees to get mangoes, playing cricket, and don't judge me, but the occasional swimming in a trench. So I have no idea what it is apart from what I see on social media. But I'm saying that to say it is not unique to a specific area or demographic. Anybody can crash out. And a crash out is not something that just spontaneously happens. So, as your therapist in training, and because therapy isn't cheap, I'm here to share with you one of the tools that I use, which I call the Life Access Plan. I came about it when I was listening to one of the therapists that I follow on social media, and after some research, I saw that it was actually deeply rooted in the cognitive behavioral therapy model. Now, this is designed by someone called Aaron Beck, and it's a huge concept, but don't worry about that because that's why I'm here to break it down for you. So, this life access plan, and if you don't have a pen and paper to write, I would suggest that you get your screen grabbing ready or your screen recording because this is something you'll be able to apply to pretty much any area of your life to either avoid a crash out or simply ensure that you're living in a state of wellness. So, essentially, what we're talking about is what happens when somebody crashes out. And like I said, it's an unregulated response to stimuli. Now, how does that work? And I'm going to use the example of sneakers. So, let's just say you go out in a bar or you're out in public and somebody steps on your sneaker. Now, the crash out or the scrape, their response will be, yo, I feel disrespected and I'm about to pop off. Cash me outside. Now, is that worth it? And how could we avoid this scenario? Well, if we notice on the chart, you have emotion, so it does have a place. But before that, you have your thought. What we do in this scenario, because emotions are reactive, something happens, you feel a certain way, and you react to it. What we need to do is to train ourselves to respond. To respond, we have to actually tap into our thought. And how does that work? First of all, we pause. So we pause and we go back to our thoughts. Now, our thoughts regulate our emotions, and our emotions regulate our behavior. Now, this sounds pretty simple. I mean, everybody says think before you act, right? But it's easier said than done because what exactly informs your thought? Now, the thought process is basically like this using the same example. Someone steps on my sneaker, I feel disrespected. Now, I'm about to pop off, but I pause and then I ask myself these questions. Did they really mean to do it? Was it an accident? Or was it just unavoidable because we're in a crowd? And then finally, which I think is the most important question, is it really worth it to pop off? Now, once you've asked yourself those questions, you can go back to a place of What are you feeling now? Now, hopefully, the emotion is tempered because you realize it was just an accident and it's really not worth crashing out. And then you go to your behavior, which at this point, all things being equal, leaves with you walking away. Now, we know life is not ideal. You might not get an apology. It might be a case where the person is, getting ready to crash out and the person might be a scrape as well. Who knows? But in all cases, as long as you go back to your thought, chances are your response is going to be more tempered than had you acted on emotion. Now, here's the problem. In the same theory that I'm talking about, which is the cognitive behavioral therapy, there is this thing called automatic thoughts. The thing with automatic thoughts is it is often unregulated, it is unhelpful because it is untrained, and it is often spontaneous. And this starts what is known as a cycle because your thoughts regulate your emotions, and your emotions regulate your behavior, but your behavior reinforces that thought. Now, how does that work? Now, I'm going to say, and y'all don't come for me because, I ain't calling no name, but let's say you're from a particular borough and someone steps on your sneaker, using the same example. Yeah, I know you're tired of hearing about the sneaker. I'm tired of talking about the sneaker, but the sneaker is here to stay, and you're gonna pay attention to the sneakers. The sneakers all I got. Okay. All right. So you're out. Somebody steps on your sneaker, but you're from a particular borough. Somehow you're able to pause when you feel disrespected after that stimuli comes in, and you go to your thought. But your thought is very much unregulated because you've been taught by your culture that, yo, if somebody steps on my shoes, I gotta represent. I gotta this. I gotta that. I gotta stand on business. And that often means that now, even if you might not be feeling as upset or disrespected, you still feel the need to act and act in a way that might not be helpful. And so we still end up with the crash out. So, how do we fix this? Because I've given you all of this, but at the same time, I still haven't told you how to not crash out. Well, that's where your belief comes in. Now, your belief is at the core of who you are. Don't believe me? Turn your TV on. Go to your favorite news station. All right. Don't fight with me. Fight with your unregulated thoughts. Yeah. Use the tools I just gave you. See what I did there? All right. So now we have your beliefs in play. And like I said, it's a core of who you are. And when we talk about it, we're talking about your culture. We're talking about your upbringing. We're talking about everything that has been poured into you up to the point that you are where you are today in life. And oftentimes, this is why we end up in therapy for years on end, paying thousands of dollars because it is often rooted in trauma. Yeah. And as much as that's triggering for a lot of people, this is why I say, even if it's once, everybody should go to therapy just to talk. So that's one of the things that we need to look at our belief system. Once we're able to adjust our belief system to ensure that it's grounded in healthy foundations, that is grounded in healthy thoughts, that is grounded in healthy notions, healthy teachings, whatever it is, and the ideas that support wellness. And I keep saying wellness, and you'll see the 5 pillars of wellness on this chart as well. As long as our beliefs are rooted in that, what we will have happen is now our thoughts are going to be even more well informed, and then it is better able to appropriately regulate our emotions and thereby appropriately regulating our behavior. And when you do something consistently, when you keep practicing, remember I spoke about the cycle, thoughts to emotion to behavior, and then back to thought, it becomes a way of training your brain. So now what we have is that your automatic thoughts become more healthy, or rather healthier, and you have less likely of a chance of crashing out. Now, like I said, this is an umbrella idea. This is a huge therapy technique. And to actually have this work, a lot of work needs to actually go into it. It's not going to happen overnight. And that's why I said, if you need help, you can leave me a comment. You can send me a message. I'm going to put my email at the bottom of this video and I can send you the tools I use, tools for journaling. And no, journaling is not writing a diary. So I don't want anybody come and say, yeah, I have a diary that I write in every day. That is not it. That's just putting your issues out there. Journaling is about figuring out how to fix it by paying attention to your thoughts and then regulating it. And then once you're able to use that, there are other tools such as meditation. Now, I know a lot of people for religious reasons, they say they can't meditate. If you can't meditate, pray because prayer technically is a form of meditation, but you're speaking with God. Prayer communes with God, meditation communes with self, and then finally, another tool that I use is mindfulness practices. Now, mindfulness simply speaks of being in the here and now without any room for judgment. Nothing is good, nothing is bad, just appreciating things for what they are in that moment. Once you're able to use all of these tools, consistently practice, you will be on your way to achieving wellness in these categories. Like I said, it's a journey, and I'm there to help. If you feel you need professional help, though, go to a therapist that's licensed. I'm just here to give you this because guess what? Like I said, therapy is not cheap, and as I learn, I'm helping you because we're on this journey together. But all that I've said comes down to a few things. One, understanding that your emotions are valid. They have a place. Think of it like a car. You have a car, and if your emotions are the driving force behind your car, then you're driving a car with no brakes and misaligned steering, aka you finna crash. What you need to do is have your emotions in the car because that helps you to be in tune with what's happening around you. But at the same time, have your thoughts guiding and driving that car. So your thoughts are in the driver's seat. Your thoughts are able to put everything in your environment into consideration. Your thoughts are able to apply logic, but your thoughts must have been to driving school, which means it must be grounded in healthy beliefs. Once you're able to do that, you will be on this journey to a healed life. But if you remember nothing I've said over this entire video, what I do want you to remember is that we are on this healing journey together. And even though it's going to take some time, as long as you stick to the path, I want you to remember that one, you're not alone. And two, if all else fails, let love be your guide, peace be your map, and kindness be your companion.